Hey guys, Mosa here, and today I'm bringing you my 2025 mock draft of the first round of the draft tonight at 8 p.m. Now, without a further ado, let's get started. Now, let's kick it off with the first overall pick, and I think the Tennessee Titans will be selecting edge rusher Abdul Carter out of Penn State. Now, you're probably thinking, why not Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders? Why not Travis Hunter to the Tennessee Titans first overall? And that's because even though their quarterback is a little bit iffy, I'm still thinking they're going to go with Will Levis. And when it comes to Travis Hunter, he's not the best player in the draft. Abdul Carter is. Having an edge rusher like him coming off the edge and going after the opposing team's quarterbacks is what the Tennessee Titans will need. And Abdul Carter will give that very thing to the Titans. Now, moving on to the second overall pick, the Cleveland Browns select cornerback Travis Hunter out of Colorado. Now, honestly, I don't think they're going to go quarterback either. Deshaun Watson, even though they might be getting rid of him, I still think quarterback could be laid off to the next draft or the next offseason, something like that. But when it comes to Travis Hunter, he is a one of the kind player that you shouldn't pass up on. You've already lost the chance at Abdul Carter. Don't lose your chance at Travis Hunter. You can use him at wide receiver or corner, and that's pretty good to have a player like him. I think he's going to be a good part of the Cleveland Browns defense, mostly, but don't miss out on potentially seeing him on the offensive side, catching balls from either Deshaun Watson or whoever is the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Now, moving on to the third overall pick, we got the New York Giants selecting quarterback Cam Ward out of Miami. Now, you're probably thinking, how did Shedeur Sanders fall out of being the number one quarterback? Well, his freaking draft stock has just been going down and down and down. I don't think he's going to be in the top 10, potentially. Maybe he squeaks in the top 10. But I think that definitely Cam Ward will be the first quarterback off the board. The Giants, although they do have Russell Wilson, they do have Jameis Winston, I believe that Cam Ward will not be starting this season, but instead will be starting next year or the year after. They're going to bench him. They're going to keep him on the bench, let him learn behind Wilson and Winston, and then when he's ready, you rock him and you probably start winning football games. But not only that, maybe he takes you to the playoffs. Now, moving on to the fourth overall pick, we got the New England Patriots selecting offensive tackle Will Campbell out of LSU. Now, when it comes to Will Campbell, honestly, the Patriots need to protect their franchise quarterback in Drake May, and why not start by getting Will Campbell in the first round? Honestly, one of the top offensive linemen in this draft, and I believe will be the first offensive lineman off the board. But to be honest, there could be a few downsides to having Will Campbell, but I think that what he can do for the Patriots is honestly a lot better than his faults on the football field. But I think that he'll be an excellent member of the New England Patriots, protecting their quarterback Drake May and opening the holes for running backs, whoever is in the backfield for the New England Patriots. Now, moving on to the fifth overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars select defensive lineman Mason Graham out of Michigan. Now, this is going to be a good defensive lineman on the interior, run stop. This is going to be very good for the Jaguars to stop those running backs, such as, I think Joe Mixon is with the Texans, if I'm not mistaken. But also getting to the quarterback is another thing that he might be able to do for the Jaguars. So getting to CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson is a very good thing for the Jaguars. And I think that this guy would be the best option for the Jacksonville Jaguars, fifth overall. And honestly, there is a chance that he actually might have gone a bit higher if it wasn't for the need of the Patriots on offensive line. Now, moving on to the sixth overall pick, we got the Las Vegas Raiders selecting running back Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. Now, when it comes to Ashton, he has been a very good running back, one of the top running backs in the nation. I think that he'll have a very good opportunity with Las Vegas. The Raiders Honestly, I expect him to do not a 1,000-yard season his first year, maybe a decent year for a rookie, but then he'll start exploding the more experience he gets in the NFL. And I think that the Raiders would definitely need to get a running back like him on their team. Now, moving on to the 7th overall pick, we got the New York Jets selecting offensive tackle Armand Membu out of Missouri. Now, I don't know if that's how you say his last name, but it is what it is. Now, when it comes to the offensive line, obviously, they got a new quarterback in Justin Fields, and they're not dealing with Aaron Rodgers anymore. But still, you don't want what happened to Aaron Rodgers to happen to Justin Fields. So you're going to want to protect him, and this guy is a very good start to protecting Justin Fields for the 2025 season. So I expect a lot from the Jets when it comes to protecting their quarterback, especially a mobile quarterback such as Justin Fields. Now, with the 8th overall pick, we got the Carolina Panthers selecting cornerback Will Johnson out of Michigan. And I honestly believe that the Panthers secondary is in need of some help. So I think that Will Johnson being selected 8th overall will help out the Carolina Panthers. And honestly, the defense is mostly what they need. They also need to worry about the development of their quarterback. But for right now, their defensive needs go ahead of their offensive needs. And I think that Will Johnson will be an excellent help for the defense of the Carolina Panthers. Now, with the 9th overall pick, we got the New Orleans Saints selecting quarterback Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado. Now, many people say that Shedeur is going to fall out of the first round. I don't, or not the first round, but out of the top 10, out of the top 15. I don't think so. I think that the Saints will pick up their future franchise quarterback in Shedeur Sanders, 9th overall, rather than waiting in the second round to get someone. But for me, I think Shedeur will fit New Orleans just right. Maybe you start Derek Carr for a little bit and then moving on to the future, which is obviously in Shedeur Sanders. But yeah, I'm thinking right now, that the New Orleans Saints definitely take Shedeur Sanders 9th overall and improve that offense. Now, moving on to the 10th overall pick, we got the Chicago Bears selecting offensive tackle Kelvin Banks out of Texas. And honestly, I think Kelvin Banks will be a good choice to protect your franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams. Williams had a 50-50, maybe all right season. Not the best for a rookie first overall pick, but definitely could see room for improvement if he has a better offensive line. And honestly, I think that this guy, Kelvin Banks, will help, honestly, the development of Caleb Williams. Because honestly, as long as you keep him upright and as long as he's able to get the ball to his receivers or hand off the ball to a running back, I think that the offensive line, if it's improved in Chicago, we're going to be seeing a potential, not Pro Bowl season yet, but a definite better season for Caleb Williams in year 2. Now, moving on to the San Francisco 49ers at 11th overall, they select edge rusher Jalen Walker out of Georgia. Now, it's not that they need necessarily the defensive edge rusher, pass rusher kind of guy, but I feel like this guy could do a lot of good with the combo there in San Francisco on defense. And I honestly think that this would be a great start to, just in case that you can't keep Nick Bosa. Honestly, bam, there you got a new guy, fresh guy off of college. And then honestly, let's say for some reason Nick Bosa goes down with injury, you got Jalen Walker, and I think that he could actually take the position of Nick Bosa. But it's not like he's going to be balling out like Nick Bosa has. I think that he'll be a decent backup for Nick Bosa, or maybe even partner on the opposite side of the field, or of the line to be exact. With the 12th overall pick, the Dallas Cowboys select edge rusher Michael Williams out of Georgia. I'm not sure if that's how you say his name, but it is what it is. He'll be selected to Dallas to pair up with Micah Parsons. I think that Micah Parsons and Williams off the edge will be an excellent duo. Honestly, expect the Cowboys defense to get better, at least in the pass rushing, uh, in the area of pass rushing, because to be honest, Williams and Parsons coming off the edge is going to put the fear of death in all quarterbacks in the league. And honestly, I think the Cowboys would have an excellent draft by selecting him in the first round, and then maybe a few other picks throughout the second, third, and throughout the later rounds. But to be honest, this guy is the guy that got the pick with the 12th overall pick. Now, with the 13th overall pick, we got the Miami Dolphins selecting cornerback J.Day Barron. I'm not sure that's how you say his first name, but he comes out of Texas. Now, when it comes to the Dolphins, I honestly believe that their defense definitely needs to improve. They're trying to get rid of Jalen Ramsey, so why not get his replacement in the first round? And I think Barron would be the best replacement for Ramsey on that defense if they so get rid of him. I don't remember or know if he has been traded yet, but if not, I think that the Dolphins will definitely be selecting Barron in the first round, 13th overall. Now, with the 14th overall pick, we got the Indianapolis Colts selecting edge rusher Mike Green out of Marshall. Now, when it comes to the Colts, defense is one problem of theirs that they need to fix, and I think Mike Green off the edge would definitely help them out. He has been an outstanding edge rusher for Marshall, and I think he'll do the same with Indianapolis Colts. And honestly, I'm expecting the Colts defense to improve a lot with this draft if they draft this guy and all the other guys. I believe that if drafted, the Colts will definitely improve. They won't make it to the playoffs, but they definitely will improve and be oh so close to a playoff run. Maybe even a playoff run that ends in the first round. But this is a very good improvement for the Colts, and I think it's necessary. Now, with the 15th overall pick, we got the Atlanta Falcons selecting linebacker Jihad Campbell out of Alabama. Now, this guy is going to be a very good linebacker / pass rusher. Like, I expect this guy to blitz a few times off the edge or even through the A gaps or B gaps. But what I'm thinking is this guy's going to be an excellent guy to have there at linebacker and to honestly be a weapon for those short passes or those, honestly, the running backs coming in through the A-B gaps. But what I think is that definitely the Falcons will need help on defense to make sure that their quarterback, who is no longer going to be Kirk Cousins, I believe that Michael Penix will definitely be the guy. As long as the defense is able to stop the opposing offenses, that will give opportunities for Michael Penix to actually improve for his team if given the opportunity of getting the ball to the end zone first before the other team. And I think that this guy would help him in that regard, and that the Falcons could do a lot of good with this guy at linebacker. Now, with the 16th pick, the Arizona Cardinals select edge rusher Shamar Stewart. Now, Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, honestly, it's going to be a very good option for the Cardinals. Obviously, they got Kyler Murray still. Maybe his reign is coming to an end pretty soon. But I think that this move will do a lot of good for the defense to give Kyler Murray more chances. This edge rusher off the edge, he's going to have to go up against Sam Darnold, which is 50-50 on him. But then Brock Purdy and Matthew Stafford twice a year. So this is going to be pretty good for the Cardinals. I think that they're improving. And honestly, maybe the Cardinals actually start a playoff run this year. Maybe not as a division champions, but definitely if they are able to upgrade this defense with this edge rusher. Now, moving on to the 17th overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select defensive lineman Derek Harmon out of Oregon. Now, They definitely need some defensive help, and I think Harmon will be a very good option for the Bengals this offseason in this draft. Honestly, I think that the Bengals, they have a good offense under Joe Burrow. They got some good receivers. They got a good run game. Honestly, their defense is what's letting them down a little bit. The offense a little bit as well, but I think it's more on the defense than it is the offense. So, in my opinion, getting this guy on the D line is going to help the Bengals for a long time to come. Now, moving on to the 18th overall pick, where my Seattle Seahawks select offensive lineman Gray Zabel. I think that this interior offensive lineman, maybe put him at guard, and honestly, that's going to help the Seahawks offensive line protect Sam Darnold and whoever else they have at quarterback. I think it's going to be Sam Darnold starting week 1. So get ready to protect not your future franchise quarterback. He's not that. Maybe we get a late pick. You'll be seeing that Seattle does select a quarterback in the later rounds in my Instagram post of the rest of the rounds. But let's keep it on with this guy. This guy, excellent guard for the North Dakota State. And honestly, I think that he'll do the same with the Seahawks and protect Sam Darnold. Although, we also do have the 2 tackles in Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross, which one of them maybe could be replaced. But for me, I think that we should keep them where they are. And the Seattle Seahawks should improve the offensive line instead of getting rid of some good offensive linemen. Now moving on to the 19th overall pick, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting safety Malaki Starks out of Georgia. Now, when it comes to the Buccaneers, definitely secondary is a problem, but it's not the biggest problem. But why not take one of the best safeties in the draft right now, just in case? And I think that's the scenario the Buccaneers will be in. Either that or they'll trade the pick away. One of the two will happen. I think that Malaki Starks, though, would be the best option for the Buccaneers at this point. And yeah, I'm thinking that we're going to be seeing a decent Bucs team this year, specifically on defense. Now on to the 20th overall pick. We got the Denver Broncos selecting tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Now when it comes to the Broncos selecting a tight end this high, I think that Warren is one of the best tight ends in this draft. And he could have gone a bit higher, but I think that he definitely falls in the hands of Denver, getting Bo Nix another weapon. And honestly, this is going to be a very good tight end for Bo Nix to be throwing the ball to, mostly due to the fact that I think that he can also block just as good as he can go and get the ball. So we're going to be seeing a very, very good guy on defense, on offense, in both the run block and the pass game. And that's what I think, that if they take Warren, he's mostly going to be a pass threat, but honestly, maybe a few blocks in the pass game or in the run game for this guy. And I think that he'll do an excellent job in Denver. Now with the 21st overall pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select wide receiver Matthew Golden out of Texas. Now, you're probably thinking, why? Why wide receiver? They got George Pickens and DK Metcalf. I think a third receiver like this guy, Golden, should be selected so that they could have another threat for, honestly, whoever's drafted for the Pittsburgh Steelers, or maybe even Aaron Rodgers, who knows. But for right now, I think that the receiving core should be upgraded with Golden on that receiving core. To be honest, I think that no matter who the quarterback is, they're going to have a very good receiving core. And this is just going to add to how good that receiving core of the Steelers will be in 2025. Now, moving on to the 22nd overall pick, the Los Angeles Chargers select wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan out of Arizona. Now, another good wide receiver. You're adding him onto the Chargers for Justin Herbert to throw the ball to. Another target that is going to be very good for this Chargers team. And honestly, I think Jim Harbaugh will find a way to use him in the pass game successfully, because I think that this guy, if used properly, I think that maybe the Chargers could not only have a top 15, 20, maybe receiver, maybe they'll even have a better receiver than that. Maybe they'll have a receiver over 1,000 yards. But don't I'm not saying that he's going to get 1,000 yards in his rookie year, but maybe in his second year he'll get 1,000 yards. But he'll be successful enough to give the Chargers a chance at a playoff spot in 2025. Now, moving on to the 23rd overall pick, we got the Green Bay Packers selecting defensive lineman Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. Now, Grant is going to be a very good defensive lineman to mix in there with that defense of the Packers. I honestly believe that the Packers will do a lot better with Grant on the field. And obviously, I think that the Green Bay Packers defensive line is not as good as many in the league. So that's why I think that adding Grant will honestly help them get to the quarterback and stop the run on many occasions in 2025. Now, moving on to the 24th overall pick, we got the Minnesota Vikings selecting defensive lineman Walter Nolan coming out of Ole Miss. And to be honest, I think that defensive lineman Nolan honestly will give the Vikings a very good defensive line to help out that defense. That is honestly, I think at the more or less the end of the season, they started struggling. Though that team was insane with obviously Sam Darnold at quarterback. It's going to be sort of insane maybe with JJ McCarthy. But in my opinion, the defense is the one that needs a little bit more help. And why not add a successful lineman out of Ole Miss like Walter Nolan to that very decent defensive line and make it even better? Now, moving on to the Houston Texans at number 25, we got them selecting offensive tackle Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. Now, they need offensive line help to help their quarterback, CJ Stroud, and I think this is the best option for that. You got a very good quarterback in Stroud. Keep him upright, keep him clean, and that's what I think this guy will do. And honestly, we might be seeing a potential AFC Championship run for the Houston Texans if their quarterback remains upright throughout most of the season. And we might be seeing a potential CJ Stroud to not only be a playoff-bound, AFC Championship-bound quarterback because of how well he's going to be protected this year if selecting Josh Simmons is a thing for the Texans, but we might even see him be Offensive Player of the Year or something like that. Now, moving on to the 26th overall pick, we got the Los Angeles Rams selecting cornerback Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. I, in fact, believe that the Rams are going to be on the up and up if they upgrade that defense, and I think that Maxwell will be a very good option for the Rams to select. Maybe they won't be the division champions, but they'll definitely be a top team to watch out in the playoffs if their defense is upgraded and they're able to protect Matthew Stafford and get the ball out to your receivers. And I think that first you work on the defense if you're the Los Angeles Rams. Now with the 27th pick, we got the Baltimore Ravens selecting safety Nick Emmanwori out of South Carolina. Now, when it comes down to the Ravens, defense is mostly what they need. Maybe they select a few offensive players for Lamar, but other than that, I suggest they start off with their defense. Worry about your defense first, then you do whatever you can for Lamar in the later rounds. I think, though, safety, this one in specific, is going to be a very good option for the Baltimore Ravens if selected. Now, moving on to the 28th overall pick, we got the Detroit Lions selecting edge rusher James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. Now, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, I think their heavy injuries on the defense is what hindered their chances at winning it all and going to the Super Bowl. I think that maybe you start building up more defenders, making sure that you got a healthy roster, And honestly, that's what is most important for the Lions this year. Stay healthy. Because the more you stay healthy, the better you are. And the Lions proved it last year how good they can be when healthy. And honestly, I expect them to not only draft this guy and hopefully keep him healthy, but I expect the Lions to be a contender for the Super Bowl this year if they are able to stay healthy. Now, moving on to the Washington Commanders, and we got the Commanders at 29 selecting running back Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina. Now, this is going to be a very good running back to have for the Commanders. I know they already have a few good running backs there, but why not add another one? And I think that this run game for the Commanders will be a very good one. Maybe some read options with Jaden Daniels. That is, this offense needs to improve a bit in the run game so that those kinds of plays in the read option or play action could actually work efficiently with Jaden Daniels and making sure that the other team's defense is always just aware of what could happen, but 1,000 things could happen from read options, play actions, or RPOs, whatever could come. And I think that as long as you got a good running back, a good quarterback, and good receiving game, they'll definitely be successful with a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. Now, moving on to the 30th overall pick, the Buffalo Bills select offensive lineman Tyler Booker out of Alabama. Now, this is going to be a very good option for Josh Allen to be protected. Tyler Booker could be a mid-round, first-round pick. That's what I think he could be at the best. But right now, my belief is that he'll fall to Buffalo. Buffalo will take him. Buffalo will have more protection for Josh Allen. And honestly, I think that if you're able to protect Josh Allen, he's able to do all his magnificent moves that he can do. And honestly, I think that the Bills could still rival the Chiefs for a Super Bowl appearance. As we all know, that rivalry between Buffalo and Kansas City is heavy. And you need to make sure whenever they're facing the Chiefs that Josh Allen is always protected and Tyler Booker can help out with that. Now, moving on to the 31st overall pick, we got the Kansas City Chiefs selecting edge rusher Donovan Ezekruaku. I don't know if that's how you say it. He's out of Boston College. Now, this is going to be a very good guy on the edge for the Chiefs. I think that, honestly, pairing him up with, obviously, in the interior off defensive lineman, you got Chris Jones. You got some other guys on that defensive line. Honestly, I think that this team is going to be magnificent next year. There always are, apparently. The Chiefs, no matter how good or how bad of an offseason they have, they're always so good. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them in the Super Bowl, but still. Regardless of that, I think that the Chiefs selecting this guy will help their edge rush, their pass rush, and I think that 100% that this is the guy they're going to choose. And if they don't choose him, they're going to maybe go for something in the offense, although maybe it's not offensive line. Now, with the 32nd and final pick of the first round, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champion, selecting wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. And yes, I do in fact believe they're going wide receiver to pair up a third receiver with Devonta Smith, and you got A.J. Brown on that other side. So I think he's going to be used as a slot receiver, more or less the same type of receiver that a former Ohio State receiver in, obviously in Seattle. He has been outstanding. Honestly, I think that this guy would be used the exact same way as Jackson Smith and Jigba over in Seattle. And to be honest, the Eagles are probably going to just put more weapons for Jalen Hurts in order to try and get back to the Super Bowl and win it back to back. And maybe next year after that, they try to do what the Kansas City Chiefs almost did this year, and that is win 3 consecutive Super Bowls for the first time in NFL history. But for right now, this is going to be a good pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, that was it for this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Who do you think you should have been picked first overall? Who should have been picked in the entire first round? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Tell me down in the comments below. Now, like this video if you liked it, subscribe, and hit the notification if you want more videos. And I'll see you guys next time.